Hello, greetings, welcome to my Funhouse. Bleh. A lot of you may know me already as BrokenJester. A lot of you may not know me as BrokenJester, but I'm going to take a second here to introduce myself and thank you for joining me on today's episode of The Funhouse. Now, I also wanted to establish the fact that this here is a safe space for anyone listening. Things are pretty tough right now in the world, in our society, and I'm here right now to share with you a lot of my thoughts and feelings on not necessarily just the political state of the world, but just a lot of things that I also find a pull toward. Various different topics that I am going to be covering here are not limited to, but will most likely be consisting of folklore, urban legends, video games, films. I am big into horror. I'm going to be talking a lot about that, but that will be coming all in due time. For now, I would really like to sit down and talk about a lot of the issues that I find myself gravitating toward. Generally involve the lack of mental health in the world today, and why that is key for people like myself, for people listening in right now, for... I generally feel like this is a very sensitive topic. I mean, it is, if nothing else. I don't think there is enough love going around in the world today, and it bothers me, it hurts. I see it weighing down my friends and family more than ever before. People are hurting, and myself included. Obviously, I'm no exception there. I generally try to indulge myself in various forms of comforting media, so I generally will indulge in video games, movies, comic books, novels, anything to take the sting away of the modern world, the work world, the day-to-day life world. Everyone wants a good escape, and I even find nowadays that everyone's escapisms are, I hope that's the right word, they just don't seem to be enough. I don't think there is a single person in my life right now that is not struggling in some way, shape, or form. And at the heart of that all is our mental health. Something you're also going to notice going forward is I'm probably just going to be rambling a lot about this, that, and the other thing. So, again, this podcast is meant to keep you company. It's meant to, we're going to hang out. That's what we're doing. We're hanging out right now. And I value friendships, I value interactions, I value my audience more than I've ever let on. I have a very steady following on social media, and I wanted to give a little bit more. I wanted to give a little bit more back. Now, I don't know, I may only have one viewer. You might be the only one listening to this right now. And you know what? Thank you. I think that is wonderful. I'm so happy that you're here. And I'm going to talk about myself in a little bit. And, however, I'm it's not generally something that I do on a regular, but for the sake of, introducing myself and for the sake of you as the listener, why you're here, why click this podcast when you have thousands and thousands of other ones, and I'm virtually just a nobody as far as the global podcast market is concerned. But yet again, that being said, I want you to know that you are not alone in your struggles. Again, things are so stressful right now. I don't even know where to begin. It's important if you're feeling down against yourself, if you're feeling that the world is winning, if you're considering options that are less than desirable for your physical well-being or mental well-being, I would always encourage you to please reach out to professionals, your friends, your families. You're not alone. I can't say that enough. Mostly because through my struggles in my life, through the ages, through the years, I didn't hear that enough. I was the one that had to reach out to other people to keep them in check. I'm the one that always cared and overextended myself, and in the long run, it ended up leading to a lot of self-neglect. So I don't, or rather, I can't stress enough that I care about you. Your family cares about you. Whether you feel trapped, whether you feel like you're losing the battle of life, there's always a reason to get up every day, to go on, to fight through the struggles. There's always a better future. There's always a better tomorrow, and I promise things are not going to stay this miserable forever. So, I also want to establish that this is going to be a fun and friendly podcast. I'm not trying to, get anyone down. I'm not trying to create a depressing environment. I just wanted to establish that this is who I am. These are the things I think about. This is what you're getting into by joining us today on the series. On the, this is the first episode, so I'm gonna innovate. I'm gonna I want this to be fun and uppity, and with also that being said, I'm going to break down a little bit what the whole BrokenJester thing is about. So, growing up, I had always wanted to bring laughter, bring joy. Growing up, I was always a pro at getting people to laugh. It's the thing that I've always been. If there's anything in life that I can pat myself on the back for, it's being the person who can cheer someone up. And the issue there is, over time, and there's been a lot of it. 34 this year, which is where the hell did the time go? But I would always focus on cheering people up. I hate when people are down. I want to help them in any way, shape, or form, and the best medicine is often laughter, as the old saying goes. So I wanted to bring joy, laughter, and for a long time in my life, I was so good at it. So good. I never gave up on myself. I never gave up on my friends and my family. And after a while, I went through the ringer for a lot of reasons that perhaps I'll get into at another time, but it led me down a very, very dark road, and I had struggled with my mental health, my mental well-being, It led to me making a lot of poor choices, a lot of self-harm, with substances, with my depression, my anxiety. I was in a very, very unhealthy work environment, and my social life was collapsing. My love life was collapsing, and everything just fell apart. I hit a roadblock that I almost didn't come back from, and I had struggled and struggled with my ideology of trying to keep people happy, and I broke. I broke. So I'd always valued myself as I guess, a bit of a court jester, bringing laughter and joy. But after a while, when the world started to win the battle against me, my handle in life and my internet persona simply became the Broken Jester. And I wear that with a badge of pride now, because it reminds me of my struggles. It reminds me of where I came from, who I still am, and where I'm going to continue to put myself in life. So it's a battle. It's essentially a representation of a battle that I won, and my goal in life is to help people through their struggles in those similar battles with whatever positive elements that I have. I'm so much better off now. I'm on medications. I work with professionals. I recommend everybody do the same, naturally, in their level of comfort. But you don't realize how bad it can be until you have gone through it. So right now, I am here with this project that I have been planning for quite a while. I have a lot of fun stuff that I want to talk about. Like I had said, various different topics regarding film, horror movies especially. That's where I gravitate to. That's my happy place. That's where I find comfort. Call me crazy, call me whatever you want. But some of my favorite films that I'm absolutely going to be talking about are like the Evil Dead series, the Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, the greats of the Golden Age, like Vincent Price, House on Haunted Hill, House of Wax, classics as such, especially fun sci-fi from the Atomic Age, like The Blob or It Came from Outer Space, stuff like that. Reminds me of my childhood, reminds me of just my young optimism growing up and seeing all these monsters and creatures like the Universal Monster series. That right there is definitely something I'm going to get into, because that is arguably my favorite cinematic universe ever. And it was the first cinematic universe before we had Marvel, before we had DC Comics, before we had any of the long, blockbuster series to lock into. Those monsters were there first, and they deserve all the love in the world for the amount of creativity and the incredible storytelling and visuals for the time. Were out of this world, and that is definitely where my heart is regarding my love for cinema, my love for the spooky, the macabre, and everything in between. So I will see you next time. Thank you for joining me on the Funhouse.